Shalom Yashrala, this is your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakudash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone that taught us this truth never will. A salutation and much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here quick little video real fast, and grab a couple scriptures, but nevertheless to answer the question to how we got here. I was at the gas station last night, and basically, there was a big ass crowd of people at the gas station. If it wasn't for them, I wasn't paying attention to the gas prices at that point in time. But then it was just like, yeah, it is a lot more people at the gas pump than normal at this point in time. But hey, it was like, you see gas prices, this and that, like, and then they just start going in on these Russians, these Russians, these Russians. All right, and I was like, well, thinking to myself, and then I got into a conversation with somebody else about this last night. I was like, it's really, you Americans' faults that these things is going on. And the conversation pretty much went to end. It was like, all right, I don't want to hear no more about this, or I don't want to keep talking about the same thing over and over again, and all these things. And I was like, you know what? This is actually the reason why these things happen. All right, because hey, here in America is the place that dwells that dwells carelessly, man. You have the so-called, how they say, a first world country. You have first world country problems, man. All right, somebody didn't like your Instagram photos and things like that. Where around the world, people are actually suffering from real things, man. You have the so-called, not ability, but you pretty much have the ability to sit here and ignore things that's going on around the globe, wars and all these other things, thinking that you're not going to be touched by these things, man. But ultimately, these things are shaping up to fulfill prophecy, man. On one end, you have well, hell, you got a couple things going at the same time. All right, you have basically America, all right, and NATO bringing them, every step that they're taking is bringing them to their own demise. It's like here. And on the other end, and in part of bringing them to their own demise, bringing them out to the war front, you also have Russia going back to the USSR state. All right, but then you also have a global economic collapse, which is bringing in what? The MOTB. All right, like the scripture say, when he is about to fill his belly, then the Lord is going to rain it upon him while he is eating. So, hey, look, all these things are shaping up to fulfill prophecy at this here point in time. All these things are coming to pass as we see. But nevertheless, going into this here this quick little video, this is a quick and easy way to digest like how we got here, because people are sitting here looking at Russia as the aggressor, Vladimir Putin as the villain, and everything else like that. Whereas from his perspective and his people, they would say that, hey, he's a savior, man. He's the one standing up to the big bad West Wolf, man. All right, because it's not like let me just let the video play, and then we're gonna grab some scriptures, because nevertheless, and again, we're not no pro Russians or anything else like this, but it's just calling a spade a spade. If the roles was reversed, and which they were reversed, all right, check out what happened to Cuba. That's the exact same play that's going on here. But nevertheless, let's watch this video.
This treaty was simply an anti-Soviet accord aimed at countering any future aggression by the USSR. It established a new balance of power in Europe. It promised
They're talking about NATO, okay?
all members collective security. That's a core principle laid out in Article 5 of the NATO treaty. It obliges member states to protect each other in case of a war. It says an armed attack against one ally will be an attack on all allies, meaning if one NATO nation is attacked, all NATO nations will retaliate.
Now, real quick, this is why Russia does not want Ukraine to be a part of NATO, all right? Because all NATO is doing is keep getting these ex-Soviet states that's up on Russia's border to try to join them, so that they could be like, oh, the wind started blowing a little too hard and a rock fell over here on our territory, and one of my soldiers stepped on it. Now it's World War III. All right, because then now all of NATO has to go out there again, going into why there's no fly zone. Ukraine is asking for a no fly zone from NATO, but then that would cause NATO planes to be in the air, all right, or NATO troops to be, manning some of this military and things like that, the air defense systems to be shooting down Russian planes. And if Russia was to retaliate, who do you think they're going to be hitting? NATO. And what do you think the response is going to be, according to Article 5, World War III? All right, so this is, you see what's going on here, man. All right, just like, hey, Russia has a right to say, look, we don't want Ukraine, which is on our border, to be part of NATO, because y'all are encompassing around about us, man. All right, the whole point was to deter a Russian threat. At the end of World War II, Russia ain't been on no offensive at no point in time up until now. Why is Russia on the offensive at this point in time? Because you got them surrounded. You see what I'm saying? This is America's own doing, is bringing them out to do all these things, man. You're forcing their hand.
allowed NATO members to pool and share their military resources. They built efficient defense capabilities, but there was more to NATO than just defense.
It was
It
an
was an
alliance of
alliance of
liberal
liberal
countries,
countries,
an
an
engine
engine
of
of
democratization
democratization
that was
that was
supposed to
supposed to
promote
promote
common
common
values and
values and
interests,
interests,
also
also
push
pushed
back
back
against the
against the
rise of
rise of
communism.
communism.
Naturally,
Naturally,
Moscow
Moscow
saw this
saw this
alliance
alliance
as a
as a
threat to
threat
its
to its
interests.
interests.
In
In
response,
response, it
it
created
the
the
Warsaw
Warsaw
Pact in
Pact
the
in
year
the year
1955.
1955.
It was
It
a
was a
counterweight to
counterweight to
NATO,
NATO,
the
the
Warsaw
Warsaw
Pact.
Pact.
These were
These
the
were the
members.
members.
Their
Their
goal was
goal
the
was the
same.
same.
If
If
one
one
Warsaw
Warsaw
Pact
Pact
member is
member is
attacked,
attacked,
all
all
others will
others will
defend it.
defend it.
In
In
Russian
Russian
historical
historical
memory,
memory,
there were
there were
five
five
reasons why
reasons why
such a
such a
pact was
pact was
justified.
justified.
Five
Five
major
major
Now look, they're gonna go into these 5 reasons and look at what's going on today. It's the exact same play, the exact same move going from way back when till now. All right, so it's not like something new just popped off, or Russia is just on some old crazy shit. If somebody kept doing the same, if you got an employee that's been stealing from you 5 different times the same exact way, do you keep that employee employed or do you get rid of them? All right.
invasions
when the
when the
West
West
threatened
threatened
Russian
Russian
interests.
interests.
This
This
includes
includes
the
the
Polish
Polish
occupation of the
occupation of the
Kremlin in
Kremlin in
early
early
17th
17th
century,
century,
the
the
Swedish
Swedish
invasion of
invasion of
Russia in
Russia in
early
early
18th
18th
century,
century,
the
the
Napoleon
Napoleon
invasion
invasion
of the
of the
19th
19th
century,
century,
and the
and the
two
two
wars with
wars with
Germany
Germany
in the
in the
20th
20th
century.
century.
In
In
each
each
case, the
case, the
very
very
essence of
essence
the
of the
Russian
Russian
state was
state was
threatened.
threatened.
So
So
suspicion and
suspicion and
fear of
fear
the
of the
West
West
took
took
deep
deep
roots in
roots in
Russia.
Russia.
Moscow
Moscow
began
began
perceiving
perceiving
NATO
NATO
as a
as a
tool of
tool of
American
American
imperialism,
imperialism.
and the
And the
assessment was
assessment
not
was
really
not
off
really
the
off the
mark.
mark.
In
In
1989, the
1989, the
Berlin Wall
Berlin Wall
collapsed. In
collapsed. In
1991, the
1991, the
Soviet
Soviet
Union
Union
disintegrated and
disintegrated
the
and the
Iron
Iron
Curtain was
Curtain was
completely
completely
demolished.
demolished.
Europe's
Europe's
regional
regional
order
order
hinged
hinged
on
on
one
one
question.
question:
Should
should
Germany
Germany
align
align
itself with
itself
the
with the
US and
US and
NATO,
NATO,
or
or
should it
should it
join the
join the
Russians
Russians
through the
through the
Warsaw
Warsaw
Pact?
Pact?
The
The
US
US
government,
government,
under
under
George
George
H.W.
H.W.
Bush,
Bush, made an
offer
offer
to
to
Russian
Russian
President
President
Mikhail
Mikhail
Gorbachev.
Gorbachev.
It
It
suggested
suggested
if
if
Germany
Germany
became a
became a
NATO
NATO
member,
member,
NATO
NATO
would
would
stop
stop
expanding,
expanding,
not
not
one
one
inch
inch
eastwards.
eastwards.
No new
No new
members.
members.
Now this is George Bush Senior. All right, they said they wasn't gonna be no more new NATO members, but this is the damn devil. All right.
Today, the
Today, the
US
US
says it
says
made
it
no
made no
such
such
promise, that
promise,
no
that no
such
such
deal was
deal
ever
was ever
struck, but
struck, but
hundreds
hundreds
of
of
memos,
memos,
meeting
meeting
minutes,
minutes,
and
and
transcripts from
transcripts from
US
US
archives
archives
indicate
indicate
otherwise.
otherwise.
Nevertheless,
Nevertheless,
Moscow
Moscow
bought the
bought the
offer.
offer.
It
It
demolished the
demolished the
Warsaw
Warsaw
Pact
Pact
in the
in the
hope that
hope
the
that the
West would
West would
follow
follow
suit,
suit,
that
that
NATO
NATO
too
too
would be
would be
dissolved.
dissolved.
But
But
that
that
never
never
happened.
happened.
NATO
NATO
refused to
refused to
cease
cease
operations.
operations.
And to
And
add
to add
insult to
insult to
injury,
injury,
they
they
kept the
kept the
door for
door for
membership
membership
open.
open.
Russia
Russia
saw it
saw it
as a
as a
stab in
stab
the
in the
back,
back,
and
and
NATO
NATO
kept
kept
pushing the
pushing the
dagger
dagger
deeper.
deeper.
Look at
Look
this
at
map.
this map.
NATO
NATO
started
started
out with
out with
12
12
founding
founding
members, but
members, but
since the
since the
Soviet
Soviet
Union
Union
fell,
fell,
it has
it has
radically
radically
expanded
expanded
eastwards. In
eastwards. In
1999,
1999,
Poland,
Poland,
Hungary, the
Hungary,
Czech
the Czech
Republic
Republic
joined
joined
NATO.
NATO.
In
In
2004, there
2004,
was
there was
another wave
another
of
wave of
expansion.
expansion.
Seven
Seven
Central and
Central and
Eastern
Eastern
European
European
nations
nations
were
were
made
made
NATO
NATO
members.
members.
Some of
Some of
them
them
were
were
former
former
Soviet
Soviet
republics.
republics.
In
In
2009,
2009,
Albania and
Albania and
Croatia
Croatia
joined
joined
NATO.
NATO.
And the
And the
most
most
recent
recent
entries
entries
were
were
Montenegro and
Montenegro and
North
North
Macedonia,
Macedonia,
both
both
situated
situated
in
in
Russia's
Russia's
backyard. It
backyard.
does
It
not
does not
end there.
end there.
As of
As of
2021,
2021,
NATO
NATO
officially
officially
recognized
recognized
three
three
more
more
aspiring
aspiring
members:
members:
Bosnia and
Bosnia and
Herzegovina,
Herzegovina,
Georgia, and
Georgia, and
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Last we
Last we
checked,
checked,
NATO was
NATO was
also in
also in
talks with
talks with
Sweden,
Sweden,
Finland,
Finland,
and
and
Serbia for
Serbia for
membership.
membership.
So to
So,
put
to
it
put it
simply,
simply,
much
much
of
of
Eastern
Eastern
Europe,
Europe,
which
which
once
once
used to be
used to be
part of
part
the
of the
Soviet
Soviet
Union,
Union,
has
has
now
now
joined
joined
NATO.
NATO.
And
And
this
this
happened
happened
despite
despite
Russia's
Russia's
protests and
protests and
warnings.
warnings.
The
The
last
last
reasonably
reasonably
friendly
friendly
warning from
warning from
Moscow
Moscow
came in
came
the
in
year
the year
2007.
2007.
Vladimir
Vladimir
Putin
Putin
addressed
addressed
the
the
annual
annual
Munich
Munich
conference,
conference,
where
where
he
he
said, and
said,
I'm
and I'm
quoting,
quoting,
NATO
NATO
has
has
put
put
its
its
frontline
frontline
forces
forces
on our
on our
borders.
borders.
This
This
expansion
expansion
represents a
represents a
serious
serious
provocation
provocation
that
that
reduces the
reduces the
level of
level of
mutual
mutual
trust,
trust,
and we
and
have
we
the
have the
right to
right to
ask
ask,
against
against
whom is
whom
this
is this
expansion
expansion
intended,
intended,
and
and
what
what
happened
happened
to the
to the
assurances
assurances
our
our
Western
Western
partners
partners
made
made
after
after
the
the
dissolution of the
dissolution of the
Warsaw
Warsaw
Pact?
Pact?
These
So that's all we're going to grab there. But nevertheless, you see pretty much how these things are starting to shape up. You know, it's not. This is a long going so-called debate that's been going on between Russia and the West. All right, and what the West has been lying the whole time. All right, they've been making a how do you, let me go ahead and grab that real quick. Um, This is Psalms 55 and 20. It says, He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. All right. So, hey, look, a lot of these different times, Russia, again, wasn't the aggressor at none of these points in times. They signed certain agreements that they would disband their so called super PAC. if the West wouldn't have no more new members of NATO, if they wouldn't expand further up on their borders. But what did the West wind up doing? They kept expanding. They kept getting new members. They kept getting more and more weapons and arms because once you get a NATO country, or once you get a country to join NATO, they bring in military equipment and they bring in military troops. That Article 5 is still in play. All right. So if Russia was to just to sneeze in any direction, because there's NATO bases all the way around their ass, that World War III start pretty much pops off. And who is going? Russia's not going to have any allies or anybody's going to come to their aid, because damn near the whole planet, or all these European countries, more or less to say, would be all on their side, or on the Western side, more or less to say. But nevertheless, you see what this so-called threat is. All right, but nevertheless, let me read this next verse too. It says, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. The words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords." So hey, it may have sounded, oh, we want peace, we want a stable civilization. There's no more need for war, the modern century and everything else like that. But what do you think they've been doing this whole time, man? All right, they say that they have these big super PACs to keep stability and peace on the planet Earth, but nevertheless, again, when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. But nevertheless, they speak these smooth words, but ultimately it's talking about they're going, with the intent of war. All right, this is what they wind up doing. All right, let's go over to Habakkuk 2:5. It says, "Yea, also because he transgresses by wine." All right, like they said that, hey, when they was speaking with was it Gorbachev to end the USSR, all right, the Soviet Union, they pretty much said that, look, there's no need for this superpower, or all these, there's no need for y'all to be such a how do I put it, a conglomeration of nations. Y'all can go ahead and break down, because wow, we're not going to move any closer to y'all. We'll just, we're going to just use this for economics and things like that, man. It's not a war front or anything else like that. We're not going to expand no more closer to you. But hey, guess what they wound up doing? From wherever they was at, they kept moving closer and closer and closer towards Russia, more further and further east, man. So hey, they were just entrenched in lies, man. All right, they're transgressing by their philosophies, their little contracts and things like that that they've drummed up and everything else like that. It says, yeah, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man. All right, neither keepeth at home. Hey, also it's like, who sees me and what are you gonna do about it? Yeah, we signed it, we weren't gonna move no more closer to the east, but what you gonna do about it? You gonna fight us? We got all these nations on our side against you. What are you gonna do about it? And not only that, what they don't really talk about is how they after the USSR fell, they pretty much destabilized Russia at the same time, man. All right, they pretty much turned them into a third world country. And there's people that still obviously over there living, because this was like in the early 90s when this happened. Vladimir Putin was one of those people that was over there. You seen in that video a young Vladimir Putin. But in the early 90s, man, these people realize and remember how their economy, was they was a superpower at that point in time. You had them, you had China as another superpower at that point in time, and Britain was falling out of their superpower state. But then you had America. This is the end of World War II. You also had Germany, but you see what happened in Germany. But nevertheless, at World War II times, you had what was his name, Mao Zedong. You had Joseph Stalin and all of them, and Lenin and all of them. But then it slowly but surely started gradually to fall, already to the state that you saw it um, with Gorbachev. All right, and then you came back. That's when the economy started coming back. The military started coming back. All this came back up under Vladimir Putin and everything else like that. So nevertheless, people don't really talk about how they destabilized their whole damn country like that, man. Had these people starving out. But guess what? These people remember those things, man. These people will get down to it about how they spoiled many nations, but and these people remember all these different things, man. These other countries that surround there, they starting to remember what the hell didn't happen to them, man. All right, and some of these ex Soviet states right now are actually starting to say, hey, look, man, we don't even want to take the American side on these certain things, man. We want to back up out of these things because they was once a part of the so-called play to destabilize Russia, man. All right, they was also feeling the brunt of those things. So let's continue reading on. It says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and as his death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. All right, why does he need all these damn nations up under them? All right, to basically use and abuse them and steal their resources, man. All right, you think that he wants Ukraine to free the Ukrainian people and make them live happier lives, or what do you see them doing over there with them now? All right, you see them using them as a goddamn proxy to fight with Russia, man. All right, they don't give a damn if those Ukrainian people getting bombed or if they get starved out. They just using them for pawn pieces in a game of chess with Russia, man. All right, and the same with all those other countries over there, man. Even their own European allies, man. All right, this is why they're going to want to turn it from them and then wage a war against them. All right, it says, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, and how long to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that's what you're starting to see Russia or Vladimir Putin is standing up to him. It's like, look, man, y'all promised y'all was not gonna move no more closer to the east. What are y'all doing? All right, y'all want to put y'all troops. You better not put your troops over in Ukraine. You better not bring NATO into Ukraine. Let somebody set up a no-fly zone. Let somebody participate and help Ukraine in this scenario. And then I'm gonna push the button. Y'all already seen I wasn't playing. So now they starting to rear up into America's face, man. Now they're starting to stand up against Babylon, man. All right, verse 7 says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booty unto them. All right, because, hey, right now these nations, again, they drinking this Babylonian juice. They become drunken off of these things, but guess what? Now they're starting to wake up to this here BS. Now they're starting to wake up to the lies that's going on. Now they're starting to sober up and say, you know what, we going to strengthen ourselves, and we're going to stand in the face of these, how Americans say, stand in the face of tyranny. All right, so this is what they're wound up doing right now. Verse 8 says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood and for the violence of the land and of the city and all that dwell therein. All right, so hey, ultimately, you know, these nations remember, again, they remember what you've done unto them. So now they're about to do the same thing you've done unto them, unto you know, to America and to the, well, not really the other countries, because they're going to be partaking in the same thing too. They're spoiling as well too, because hey, right now, for instance, Germany, you know, EU and NATO member, right? They're feeling the brunt, and Europe as well too. They're feeling the brunt of this what do you call it, natural gas crisis right now. Because why? Because America want to be fighting up against Russia. So guess what? They got to feel the blowback of it, man. All right, you looking at the damn gas pump right now, you feeling the blowback of what the hell these politicians got going on, man. But most Americans don't give a damn about what's going on in Russia and everything else like that. So how come, you know, you everyday Americans got to feel the brunt of these things, man? All right, read through this real quick. Job 18:7. The steps of his stream shall be straight, and his own counsel shall cast him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon a snare. The gin shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and the trap for him in the way. All right, see, hey, he thought that, you know, also the men that was at peace with him and things like that, you know, he had certain talks. It, you know, what they do is they do regime change, man. They'll go over there into your country and they'll set up their own puppet. The puppet will go along with your little game plan for so long, but you know, America's so damn proud, you know, they don't think that the other nations are going to react. So what do? They put up their own little puppets over there for their puppets to do certain things. All right, but then all of a sudden, Russia's like, bro, we're not playing with that bullshit. So guess what? Russia stands up on the you know, on their feet. But then what does America do? Now they caught in a quagmire. Now it's like, damn, we didn't put the battery in Ukraine's back. We didn't put the battery in all these other nations back and everything else like that with this false sense of security and everything. Now Russia is like, bro, we not playing. All right, y'all think we playing? We finna go over there and invade this bitch. What you gonna do about it? You gonna bring NATO out to save these people like you promised them? You gonna go over here and protect these people like you promised them? Bring one of your planes over here and we gonna wage war on your ass. So now America's caught in this here quagmire. It's like, damn, now what do? We can't you know, sit there and tuck our tail between our legs and run off. Then these other nations are gonna look at us and be like, we'll grab that next. But well, let's grab that now. Let me see. Yeah, Isaiah 14:10, it says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? All right, because now, you know, Russia's got the you know, because, all right, so think about this. When you go back to the invasion of Iraq from America, right? When America went over there with that shock and awe, started bombing the shit out of Iraq, America was like, I wish somebody would try to stand up and stop us from doing this. We'll go over there and bomb y'all ass too, right? Nobody stood up to go help Iraq in that scenario. Now the tables have turned. Russia then came up in the Ukraine, and he was like, I wish somebody would send them a damn plane. I wish somebody would set up a no-fly zone. I wish somebody would do something about it. And guess what's going to happen? You know, we're going to come over there and invade y'all ass, or we're going to bomb y'all ass. Ain't nobody's going to Ukraine's aid. Now, they sending supplies over there, but they not actually sending troops over there. They're not really sending heavy equipment over there. Like, well, I think it's Poland talking about sending planes over there, but Russia's like, y'all send planes over there if y'all want to. Y'all going to be brought up into this. But then again, you got to realize they right there on the border with Russia as well, too. These nations are smart. They don't want that blowback because they realize the war gonna be on their front, not on America's front. All right. So now these are those snares and those traps. All right. These are those snares and those traps that's basically got America hooked, and where they can't move forward, they can't move back, because either move that they make, it's going to basically lead to war. If they pull out of these things, they're going to look weak in front of the rest of these nations. Then they're going to look primed and prepped for the taking. All right, and if they move forward, well, then they're going to just meet Russia head on. All right, so it's let me keep reading. It says, verse 11: terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready to decide. It shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. All right. It shall dwell in his tabernacle, because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. So, hey, man, beforehand, like I said, they was all confident with what they was doing. George Bush, at the same time, simultaneously as he's making his speeches over there, or George Bush Senior or Junior, simultaneously while he's making his speech, they over there, what do you call it, bombing the hell out of Iraq. With straight confidence about, oh, we can lie on these people. They got weapons of mass destruction. Who gonna say something about it? Who gonna go over there and investigate this and that? Now, all these different claims that they talking about with Russia. They saying all these different things, but who's really standing? What country? Show me a country that's really standing up against whatever claims America got, or whatever kind of atrocities. Because I didn't heard everything on the damn news about Russia bombing civilian apartments and everything else like that. But what country is standing up to go try to check Russia, man? All right, so hey, now what? America, hey, it's either put up or shut up, man. All right, so we'll see how this whole thing ends out. According to prophecy, the war isn't going to be between the Ukraine and Russia like that. But what you see with that is a lot of these ex-Soviet states coming back to Russia. And I believe that, you're going to have a lot more of these Soviet states that see these things and say, look, you know what? We could break away from America and not have to worry about them invading us because Russia got our back, man. I see a lot of these different, ex-Soviet states submitting unto Russia and be like, you know what? We cool with that. I'm pretty sure that, sooner or later that Ukraine will sign some type of ceasefire deal with Russia where they wind up giving in to Russia and giving them what the hell that they want, and it's like, well, fuck it, we leave. Because you got to think, it's only really the government that's been set up by America that's so-called representing, quote-unquote, Ukraine. The rest of them people, they all Russians to begin with anyway, so nevertheless, they're not really tripping over that. All right, but hey, they the ones feeling the blowback. This is what these other Soviet states are going to wind up realizing as well, too. They don't want that on their hands. But I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord will, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone that taught us this truth and I rule well. And citation, much love for you, I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.